Hi, this is Christina Nicosia, and you're watching the video to prepare for the upcoming faculty meeting. The purpose of the presentation is to discuss my expectations for your classroom, and in addition, what you can expect of me when observing your classroom. And I wanted to provide a video of the instructions so that we could spend the time at the faculty meeting working collaboratively in groups and to problem solve. So just to review, the mission of the Madison Public Schools is to inspire and challenge all students to be lifelong learners empowered with the knowledge, skills, and character to shape their futures, realize their dreams, and contribute positively to the world. At Madison High School, what makes us so great? Well, we're a suburban high school with 790 students. In addition, there are 85 teachers, and of those 85 teachers, over 65% hold advanced degrees. We have a large, significant amount of students that take and excel in AP classes, in the arts, in athletics. In addition, we have a strong district commitment to excellence. We just rolled out our 5-year strategic plan, so I just wanted to review a couple of the key components from the September meeting of the 5-year strategic plan rollout that have to do with curriculum and instruction. The first is on student achievement. Remember the strategy developed in the strategic plan. Over the 5 years, we're gonna work to develop what it means to have the Madison experience. We're gonna examine the skills our students should possess, what they should be able to do, and how we'll measure if they are successful. The end result for student achievement should be a culture existing within our community where our core values are recognized and used to inform decision making in order to support student achievement. And we systematically use that assessment data to inform our instructional decisions. For curriculum, we're going to develop a 5-year plan for the design and implementation of a curriculum and instructional model that exceeds state and federal requirements. And the end result will be instructional strategies are in place to teach and measure student achievement of the essential 21st century skills and engaging students in learning experiences aligned to an updated curriculum map. So we're going to be teaching students for the 21st century skills, global aware citizen, information literate researcher, collaborative team members, creative and practical problem solvers, those core ideas and beliefs that we feel that our students should have when leaving Madison Public Schools. In addition, all students have the opportunity to participate in learning experiences that go beyond the walls of a traditional classroom and again align with those standards, giving students options to explore their passions. In addition, we're going to be moving toward more of a standards-based grading system. So in addition to our 5-year strategic plan, we also have this coupled idea of our 21st century learners. So the purpose of the 5-year strategic plan is to hopefully meet the learners that are in our classroom today. And there was an excellent journal article put out by the National Education Association, and in that they talk about the 21st century learners, or Generation Z, as highly entrepreneurial, pluralistic, and determined to take charge of their own future. And so we have these students sitting in our classroom now in a whole new generation that basically grew up with Google. And I just have a short video clip to show you what Generation Z is all about.
Generation Z. The kids have an attention span of 8 seconds. Is it possible to communicate anything in 8 seconds? Let's give it a try.
So who are we? Well, we're the kids born after 1995, born into a post-9/11 world. When the war on terror started, we were starting school.
We're younger than Google, first generation to have grown up with social media. We consume in 8-second bites. To us, 30 seconds is an eternity.
I don't think I would have been able to live without Google and the internet. We live more through devices than we do actual interaction.
A nightmare? Not if you know them.
Gen Y grew up in a time of plenty, but the uncertainty of the noughties changed all of that.
Gen Z is a new species. We're not called Tony or Shelley or Kevin. We're called Logan and Romeo and Malala.
We don't consume on 2 screens, we use 5. No text, highly visual. To everyone else, the way we function seems like so random, but to us, it's as natural as breathing.
We don't have a lot of faith in experts. We're not interested in the wisdom of the grey hairs. We just want to get it off Google or from our peers.
Some say we're fickle, but we do have our good points. We're highly connected, and we're not just tech savvy, it's in our genes, or should we say, our code.
We're collaborative, and we're more mature and more resourceful than Gen Y. At 18, Beth Riekels shared her first book online, and she landed a 3-book deal with Random House.
If our idea of a career doesn't exist, we'll just create it in our bedrooms. 15-year-old Maya van Wagenven bucked the old order, landing a film deal with DreamWorks after self-publishing her school memoirs.
It's a DIY culture. We're pretty entrepreneurial. 18-year-old Nick Deloisio is our poster boy. He created the news app Somely at 15 and just sold it to Yahoo for $30 million.
We witnessed our parents struggle in a crumbling job market, so we plan to make our skills pay off as soon as possible. At the ripe old age of 17, Lorde won 2 Grammys, and now she's been hired to score the next Hunger Games.
If you think we sound shallow, don't be fooled. We want to make a real difference to the world. Teen activists like Taliban shooting victim Malala Yousafzai are reaching out to millions.
So just when you thought you got your head around Gen Y, Gen Z comes along and changes everything. Every 8 seconds. Take any longer, they turn into Generation.
So coupled with the 5-year strategic plan for Madison Public Schools, and in addition to these 21st century learners that grew up in a generation of Google and are highly connected and entrepreneurial, how do we meet the needs of our learners? And so to do that, I've identified what I'm going to call the Big 10, or sort of the top 10 expectations of what I would like to see in your classroom when I come to observe. So you can see they're kind of grouped by content knowledge. We'll talk about pedagogical content knowledge. I'm going to talk about the overall classroom environment. So they're kind of grouped in 3 or 4 main categories, but you can see the list here, and I'll talk about each one. So for content knowledge, one of the big factors obviously is being highly qualified in your designated field. So I'm going to be looking that you have an understanding of your content knowledge and that you're delivering good instruction, and also that the resources that you provide your students obviously align with good content knowledge as well. In addition, I'm going to be looking for pedagogical knowledge, which means that you're a master of the classroom strategies, you apply learning theories, differentiation techniques, and grading practices in your instruction. In particular, I'm going to be looking for student-centered strategies, that idea of differentiation for process, product, and content, and I'm going to be looking for personalized learning. So what is student-centered instruction? So in a traditional teacher-centered format, the teacher is usually at the front of the class delivering the content, or the keeper of the content, and it's in a traditional format of some content, maybe a quiz, some more content, activities, and then an exam. I'm going to be looking that a teacher turns more into a facilitator of knowledge. If I walk into a classroom in a learner-centered environment, I shouldn't actually be able to quickly find the teacher, that the teacher is engrossed in what the students are doing. They shouldn't be at the front of the classroom or sitting behind their desk. So you can see the difference between a teacher-centered learning environment where the teacher is the focus, where in a student-centered learning environment, all the students are the focus. In addition, I'm going to be looking for differentiated instruction, which I know you're all familiar with. That's a goal of the school currently, in terms of making sure you're providing enough variety of resources to meet your needs, giving students voice and choice in how they deliver, show their understanding. I also want to look for personalized learning, which you can see in our infographic here, is that there's many different ways that our students can get to that end goal. So the graphic on the left represents differentiation. So some students may go one way, other students may go another way, right? Some students may watch videos for content knowledge, others might want to read, and giving those students voice and choice in how they do it. In a personalized learning environment, we're talking about using ongoing embedded assessments, formative assessments to meet the specific needs of the students, creating personalized paths for learning for each of our students, and being a guide on the side and working collaboratively with our students. In addition, I'm going to be looking for that your instruction is data-driven as per the 5-year strategic plan. So I'm going to particularly be looking at formative assessments. How are you using formative assessments to drive your instruction? And a quiz is a formative assessment if it can be remediated, if it's used to guide their learning. If a quiz is given and put it right in your grade book and never changed or not used to inform anything, then it's summative. So we're looking for a process, that it's planned, that the evidence is used to make some sort of instructional adjustment for a student for personalized learning or differentiation, and it's done in a quick amount of time so that it can really be used to inform the instruction. In addition, I'm going to be looking for an explicit focus on the standards. So I took an excerpt out of the Next Generation Science Standards. So you can see here the standard is evaluate the claims, evidence, and reasoning that the complex interactions in ecosystems maintain relatively consistent numbers and types of organisms in stable conditions, but changing conditions may result in a new ecosystem. So if I were coming to observe a class, I'd want to see that the students are evaluating a claim and evidence and reasoning, that they're actually doing that skill. So I'd like to focus on the skills-based learning objectives. I'd like them to be explicit. You could go so far as adding them to the top of each assignment. So students should be aware of what they're doing and why they're doing it in your classroom, and work toward achieving those learning objectives. So if they're doing knowledge acquisition, that they're doing it towards some sort of end. In addition, I'm going to be looking that the students are self-directed, or that you're promoting a self-directed learning environment, that the students are taking ownership of their own learning, that they may extend their own learning, especially if we're talking about students working at their own pace. Some students should be able to work ahead if they've met certain expectations and mastery in your class, and they're going to extend their learning by doing something else. And that they're sort of managing that you give them the right tools to be successful to manage their own learning. In addition, I'm going to be looking for technological knowledge, which is understanding or using technologies to support your students. Now, this isn't in the top 10 originally a couple slides ago, but technology should be used to transform teaching and learning. So if you're truly student-centered, truly differentiating, truly personalized learning, and incorporating the 21st century competencies in your classroom, you're doing that in that transformative way. There's probably the use of technology. So it's not explicit, but it's implicit in the way you drive your instruction. So for example, true formative assessment, to be able to get that data back right away, you'd probably be using some sort of online formative assessment tool to collect that data right away. So these all combine together to make the TPACK model, Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. And as you can see, they have, they intersect all together. And so I'd be looking at sort of all of these theories combined in your classroom for pedagogy and for content knowledge and for technology to drive the transformation of your instructional practices. In addition, I'm going to be looking for the classroom environment. I'm going to be looking for that there's a respect, that the students respect you, but they respect each other, and that you respect the students, that there's a strong rapport between you and your students. I'm going to be looking for classroom routines, that I should walk in the classroom and not even realize that those routines are happening, that they flow really nicely, that students, again, are not only taking charge of their own learning, but taking charge of their own learning environment, the well-oiled machine concept. In addition, I'm going to be looking for flexibility, that you as a teacher are flexible with your students, and I think in a student-centered learning environment that's differentiated, that will come naturally. In addition, that students are engaged in the learning process. So what you can expect of me for observation feedback: when I observe you, I'm going to collect quantitative and qualitative data. This is all going to be based on your needs and, of course, on the Danielson framework, which is how we evaluate. I'm going to give you an opportunity to self-assess, and then we'll talk about it together and come up with the evaluation and what it would look like. And most importantly, I will provide instructional support to you. So for the faculty meeting, after watching this video and answering the questions, please bring an upcoming lesson plan or a unit plan, especially with the skills-based learning objectives on it. During this time, you're going to be placed in groups to evaluate the plans based on the top 10 characteristics that I'm going to see in the classroom, and give an opportunity to work collaboratively to see how those characteristics are already being implemented in your classroom, or how your lesson plans can be tweaked to meet those 10 characteristics.